In this lecture, guys, I'm going to talk about for with else statement. We have already seen for loop, we have already seen for with a break, we have already seen for with the continuous statement. Now, let's try to understand what is the meaning of this for with else statement. So, Python is one of the programming language which is going to give you this kind of a flexibility. In general, in any other programming language, you will be able to find out else with respect to if, but here with respect to even for, you will be able to find out this else statement. So what is the meaning of this else statement? Let's try to understand with the practical example. So here, let's suppose if I'm going to consider a particular list. In this particular list, we have some sort of a data. Now if I'm going to parse this entire list, means I'm going to extract all of this data, so I can write over here for I in L. Okay, fine. Now let's try to print all the I, means all the values which is available inside this particular list, and then parallelly I'm going to write else statement. So now I'm going to write a print statement. This will be executed once for loop will complete itself. Now execute. As you can see that here in this particular situation, it is trying to extract a data from this particular list one by one. So first 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, and then 7. And once it is going to compute this entire things, once it is going to extract this entire data from this particular list, it is trying to print this else statement. So let's suppose there is a situation where I have to do some sort of a action. I have to call some sort of a action after a completion of a for loop, for example. So in that case, I can try to mention those operations. I can try to mention those actions inside else statement. And this is something called as for with the else statement. Now, let's try to understand these things better way, maybe by looking into multiple examples. So here, I'm going to take a list. So here, again, I'm going to consider a list. Okay, and we have a multiple data inside this particular list, let's suppose. Now I'm going to maybe target one of the data. Let's suppose I'm going to write a program to search one of the data inside this particular list. So let's suppose I'm searching for a 8. Okay, so data underscore search is equals to 8 in my case. So 8 is something which I'm looking for in this particular list. So maybe I can try to write a for statement. So for I in L, okay, for I in L, if I is equal to data search that I'm looking for, so in that case, print this particular data. So it is going to print this particular data, and then we are going to apply a break. So I don't want my for loop to go further. So once it will be able to find this particular data which I'm looking for, I don't want my list to be searched again and again and again further. So once I'm able to find this data, means I don't want my loop to get executed once I will be able to find out. So that's the reason. So I'm trying to apply a break over here. Now in parallel to this, I'm going to write else statement, and here I'm going to write that print the target data. So maybe I can try to write a format string over here, and here I can try to write the target data, means the data search that I was looking for, I am not able to find. Okay, I'm not able to find. Let's execute it. So here, what you will be able to see. So let's suppose if I'm searching for this data, 8. Yes, 8 is available inside my list, as you can see. So here it will come to this condition. So if I is equal to data, means at a particular point of a time, so when it will be able to get this particular data, the data which I was looking for, in that case, print a data and then break it. Break it means don't look further. Simple. Okay. Now here you will be able to find out that else is not getting executed. Now here, let's suppose I'm going to remove this data. Okay, I'm going to remove this data. Now if I'm going to execute the same one, right? Now if I'm going to execute a same one, now in this situation, what you are able to find out? You are able to find out that if it is not able to find a data, it simply means that it is going through the entire list, right? It will look into the complete list over here, and in that case it is going to come to the else block. Now something I have written over here, just try to focus. This will be executed once for loop will complete itself, means this else is going to get executed once for loop is going to exhaust the entire collection that you have given to a for loop for a searching purpose, or whatever list or whatever collection for loop is trying to iterate over to it, right? So once it will be able to exhaust it, then only it will come to a else block. See here, if I'm going to place 8, right? If I'm going to place 8, in that situation it is going to apply a break because it will be able to find a data. So it will not even search for a further data. So I have a further data inside this particular loop, right? Inside this particular list, we have 9 after 8, but it is not even looking into this particular line. It is breaking it. Once it will be able to find this data. So if it is going to break it, in that case, it will never come to the else block. Very simple. So it will always and always come to a else block once it is going to exhaust the entire collection. If it is not going to exhaust the entire collection, it will never come inside an else block, and that is a understanding you are going to take from that particular example. Okay, so else block will be executed when system is going to complete its iterations. So whatever iterations it has been designed for, or whatever iteration it has to go through, once it is going to complete it, then only and only in that situation it will come to a else block. So let's suppose if I have to perform some sort of a task where first it is supposed to look into the complete collection which I have given for iteration purposes, then I would like to perform some sort of action. If it is not going to completely exhaust the particular collection, so in that case, don't call that particular action. So in that case, I can try to use else block. Simple, right? Exhaust the entire collection, then come to the else block. Otherwise, don't come to the else block. Now, let's try to take another example over here. So here, let's suppose I have a number, okay? And inside this number, inside this particular list, so I have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is the data set that we have. Now, I have to search for an even number. Okay, I have to search for a even number, one single even number I have to search for. Now here, what I can do is I can write a code for I in, okay, number, which is a list. Now try to search. So if I remainder 2 is equal to 0, in that case do what? So print what? So print this is an even number, and just try to print a number as well, so which is going to be I, and then just try to write something in an else block that I am not able to find an even number. Execute. Okay, I'm not going to find an even number, and then try to execute it. Now here you will be able to see that it is executing this particular for loop as well as it is executing this else block. Why it is executing else block? Because I have not written any kind of a break condition. Okay, so it is trying to search for all the number which is even inside my entire list. So it is trying to exhaust it, and then it is coming to the else block. Now with the same example, if I'm going to apply a break, so once it will be able to find out a very first even number, apply a break. Now, if I'm going to apply a break, you will be able to find out with the same example. I have just applied a break, right? I have not done anything extra over here. I have just applied a break. So if I'm going to apply a break, it simply means that it is not going to exhaust the entire list, entire collection that we have. So it will never come to the else block. Simple, okay? So fine, same example, but two kind of a different situation. Now let's try to understand something different. So here, let's suppose there is a range of the data. Okay, so maybe I can try to write range, range, range of the data. So I'll try to generate some data set till 20. So excluding 20, obviously, starting from 0 till 19, it is going to generate a data. Now, someone has asked me that try to find out a very first data available inside this range, which can be divisible by 7. Okay, so try to find out a data inside this particular range, which is going to be divisible by 7. Okay, fine, I can do it. So here, search underscore data is equals to, let's suppose like a 7, or maybe I can skip this particular part. So here I can write for I in this particular data. Okay, so if this I is divisible by 7, it simply means that remainder by 7 is equals to 0. So in that case, print this data. Okay, so here this is a first data which will be divisible by 7. I can try to print a data over here, and then maybe I can try to write a else statement. Fine, print, 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 I am not able to find a data. Okay, I have written this one. I am not able to find the data. Now execute it. It is able to find out a data which is going to be divisible by 7. So 0 is a data, then 7 is a data, and then 14 is a data between this 0 to 19. So there are 3 data set which I am able to find out which can be divisible by 7. And it is trying to print even else. Why it is printing else? Because I'm trying to look for the entire data set, right? So I'm not trying to stop this loop at any point of a time. Let's suppose if I'm going to apply a break over here, execute, right? So it is going to find out the very first data, which is going to be 0. Let me put a colon over here for a separation. So I'm able to find out a very first data, which is going to be 0, right? And then it is going to apply a break. That yes, I'm able to find out a very first data which is going to be divisible by 7, and then apply a break. Now, if I'm going to apply a break, it simply means that it will not look into any other data set. It is not going to look into any other data set. So it is never going to execute what? It is never going to execute a else block in this particular situation. So again, another example we are able to see. So where we have for with a else statement. If there is no data set, right? If there is no data set, let's suppose I'm going to take a range where I'm going to start with 0 and then it will go till 20, and then I'm going to say that try to take a jump of 2, or maybe start from 1, start from maybe not 1, maybe from 2, and then try to take a jump of 2. Now execute, right? Now execute. So yes, 14 is a data set which I'm able to find out. Now let's suppose 2, and then I'm going to write 4 over here. So again, 14 is a data set which I'm able to receive. Let me check with the 6. So 14, let me check with the 8. I'm not able to find any data. ABLE. I'm not able to find any kind of a data, because what it is going to generate, let me check that part as well. So here, if I'm going to write list, list list, and then if I'm going to execute it, so there is 2, 10 and 18. This is going to generate 2, 10 and 18. Now none of this data set is divisible by 7. So it is going to go through the entire list. It is going to exhaust it. Once it will be able to exhaust, it will come to the else block, says that I'm really very sorry, I'm not able to find out this particular data set. Simple. This is the use case of a else block with the for loop. So hope all of you are able to understand this particular example, that where we are supposed to use a else block. So wherever I want to call some action, when it is going to exhaust the entire for loop, in that particular situation, I'm supposed to call for with the else statement. Otherwise, I'm not supposed to call for with the else statement. Simple. So with that, thank you so much guys. Keep trying, keep practicing. See you again in my next lecture.